Hello, masters and humans, I suppose, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another one of our weekly hamefura Season 2 discussion videos. Today we're here to talk about episode 9, and we are of course joined once again by my lovely partner, the wonderful Stella Luna. And before we get into it, a quick reminder if you haven't done so yet, to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, set notifications to all, and let all of AnyTube know that you are here. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. So, Space Girl. Keith certainly had a lot of good wumpa this week.
Now, what is wump again?
So, alright, so for anyone who is curious, because I'm sure there's going to be people who are like, what? Wump is when a character looks better when they're beat up.
Yep.
And Keith looks fantastic beat up. That said, it was vicious. Anyway, this episode is weird. A lot of strange things happen this week. It's not as intense as last week, because I feel like with the Nicole episode there was more to sink your teeth into, whereas this week is more set up.
Yeah, it was more set up this week, that's for sure. It was it went a different direction than I thought it was gonna go though. Like we knew that Keith was gonna disappear because that was the title of the episode, right? But the way they set it up was, like he ran off because, he got his feelings hurt, right? And he ran off because he was gonna go cry in a corner because, Katarina is gonna marry Gerald and stuff like that, and then, and it ended up not being that.
Yeah, that was quite interesting because I had fully expected that the episode was going to be like, oh, this is going to be a woe is me thing. And listen, I've Space Girl knows this. I don't know if I've said this in a video or anything, but I like Keith as a character. I hate Keith as a romantic interest. I think it's gross. Like, I am aware that they are not like actually siblings, which they do make very clear by the end of the episode. But it's always been weird to me. I don't like it. I don't see him remotely as an interest.
The one thing that I can at least now I'm not a Keith Katarina shipper or whatever, but one thing I could kind of defend a little bit is that I think Keith has always had a crush on her since they were children, right? So it wasn't like they grew up like as babies, and then it wasn't like till like when they got older he started liking her. I think he's always saw her romantically, even though like they grew up together. Because in fairness, they grew up together, but also like so did all the other kids too, right?
Yes, but he lived in her home. Like, they were actually siblings, Like, it's just weird. Like, it's just bizarre. I don't like it.
Yeah. Well, I guess what makes it weird is that she sees him as a sibling, though.
She truly does. Like, there's even a reference to her actual brother. In this episode where Keith is very kind when trying to comfort her, whereas her, like, real life brother, he would like put her in arm bars and like pro wrestling moves to try to make her feel better. Like that was what her older brother had attempted to do, as a way to cheer her up, which is like very sibling-y, where it's like, oh, you're feeling bad? Let me kick your ass, right? Like that's very accurate.
No, like back when, like I have a few siblings back home. I know I've definitely done some things.
What do aliens do? What do aliens do to beat each other
up?
Well,
when I had to, go to the bathroom, and my brother kept not wanting to leave the bathroom, even though I was in there first, and I was like, I need to go, I'm here first. He kept trying to come in, so and he would not leave. Like, he sat there and he just was not leaving. And so I grabbed him, I picked him up, and I threw him out the door. I literally I threw a whole ass child out the doorway. Now, mind you, I was very young. I was still a child as well. Mm-hmm. But I was not having it. I had to go. You do not want to be in the way of when I have to go. Because if I have to go, I have to go. And I will kick anybody out. I will kick their ass. But, that's the... But anyways, yes, like, yeah.
It's not what I was.
Sorry.
I was like, oh, this is a very interesting story. I wonder where this is going. Oh, she just threw a whole alien out the door. All right, fair enough.
I threw a whole child out the
Threw
window.
an entire child right out the window.
Out the door.
Out the door, not the window. Out the port lock. Right out the space.
Anyways.
Yes.
But yeah, like Katarina sees Keith as her brother, right? And so like, it just kind of like I guess like I'm a big like shoujo fan, right? And like it's such a big trope in shoujo and like ultimate games to have like the like person like the guy who is like a brother who is not like biologically a brother. Usually like a step sibling or somebody like grew up with they see as a brother. So it's like that trope is so common. It's really common. But I don't know, like I thought Keith was running away because of his feelings and I was like, man, what a wimp. I thought he was a big old wimp. But that's not what happened.
No, he was trying to make her feel better. Like he had run off into town. Well, because that's the other thing too. Is it's like this is a town we haven't seen before. Yeah. We'll get into that later, but yeah, it's a town we haven't seen. He runs in there to get some gift for her, and then bumps into seemingly his mother, like his actual biological mother.
She looks like his mother.
She does.
She just straight up.
So yeah, and then he is then confronted by his former sibling. Maybe they're both his siblings? I don't know. But yeah, Keith was kidnapped and is seemingly being tortured. Which is like, oh, this is taking quite the turn. Hamefura this season has really taken some turns, you know?
It really has. I really like this direction that we've gone with the series. Because we went from just like an ultimate game where everybody falls in love with Katarina, you know, and it's just like goofy shenanigans to kind of some serious stuff happening. And like, especially like with Keith getting the living shit beat out of him.
Yes, by Chubby Goku.
By Chubby Goku!
That was my immediate thought, was just, oh, look, it's Chubby Goku.
He's getting annihilated by Thomas the Tank Engine. Like
Thomas the Tank Engine. I love it. No, it's true, yeah, his biological brother, Thomas, yeah.
Yeah, his biological. Yeah, like, I mean, to be honest, I'd be mad too if Keith turned out like that and I turned out like how I would be mad too if I ended up being the ugly sibling.
He seems like an asshole. By the way, he is not ugly because he's chubby, before anyone says. He's ugly because he literally looks ugly.
He literally just looks ugly.
Yeah, his design is quite rough.
No. It's not because he's just chubby, but just be, like ugly in a sense of like, just being like ugly on the inside as well too.
He's ugly on the inside, but also his face. I was like, this is woof. Like he is, I don't know. Like him and the other sibling, like they're both just creepy looking. You know, it's like, oh, you're both like, one looks like a street punk, you know, from like an aristocratic story, right? Like he looks like he would be like part of Sherlock's homeless ring in like a Sherlock story, you know, like the chubby Goku character, Thomas.
Yeah.
I forgot his name. And then the other character is just creepy. Like the one smiling in the opening, you know, like very unsettling character design.
She's just laughing. She's
yeah, it's like, oh, I don't like that.
Wait, hold on.
Yes.
Like that.
I'm scared.
You should be. Anyways, yeah, no, and I guess I'm just curious though on how they made that note that Katarina and her mother got from Keith.
Yes.
Keith, quote unquote, Keith.
Quote unquote.
Right? And she's like, it looks like his handwriting.
Yeah. We had talked about this briefly, like before recording. It seems as though, I believe you're right when you had mentioned that it could be magic.
Yeah.
Because it usually is, like when it comes to like Katarina, like the series usually relies heavily on magic, right? Dark magic and stuff like that. And it could be, but I don't know. Like either it's dark magic or perhaps Keith's siblings who were not quite as lucky as Keith turned out to be. perhaps they are con men, right? Like maybe they've become skilled in sort of mimicking handwriting or signatures and stuff like that. Perhaps it could be like a bit of a ring that they have, right? Like a crime ring. It seems as though it could be, especially the fact that they have a dungeon. Like that's a little creepy.
Yeah.
You know what? It actually, the whole thing reminds me of.
What?
There was this television series called The OC, and in the OC, there was.
Oh my god!
Shush. Let me say, there was two brothers. One was Ryan, who is the main character, and the other one was Trey. I believe his name was Trey. He was Ryan's older brother, and Ryan gets adopted by the Coens, who are this like rich family who live in Orange County, and Trey meanwhile goes to prison because basically the show opens on a carjacking essentially, and so Ryan almost goes to juvie, but instead he is saved by the father of the Coen family, who takes Ryan in as his sibling, or as his son rather. And later on, they reintroduce Trey, and there's sort of this like unspoken animosity where Trey is like, well, I went to jail and you got the good life, so blah blah blah, right? So there is that sort of unspoken animosity between them, and it reminded me, like seeing this episode of Hamefura reminded me of that, where it's like two siblings who have gone in different directions in life, and one found a new family. And so that sort of hidden animosity of like, oh, you don't talk to us lower nobles, right?
Yeah.
So I assume they are another noble family. I don't remember how Keith was introduced to the Kleiss family. Like,
it was because so what ended up happening was he was being bullied by his brothers. So it goes back, right? Like we were told in season 1 that his brothers were pieces of shit. Right? And he ended up using magic on them and hurting them.
Oh, that's right.
Because he was really strong, right?
Yeah.
And so then his family sent him away to the Kleiss family, right? And so then he kind of had like that trauma with his magic. And then when he ended up like kind of hurting Katarina, like he tried to lock himself in his room, and that's when Katarina pulled out the axe and was like, bitch, no you ain't, get your ass out here, and she chops down the door.
Yeah, I remember her chopping down the door to get to him.
Yeah.
I had forgotten that, it was because he had hurt her by accident. It is interesting though, like the idea that that now she has to go get him again, she has to free him again, this time this was against his will. But she has to go save Keith yet again.
What is the motivation of this happening? Like, why is this happening?
I don't know. I'm curious. Maybe they need really money or something. I don't know. Some sort of animosity is there. I don't know, because we keep getting hints that there's a lot of things happening behind the scenes of the series, right? Like there was still the issue of like, like the kidnapping plot, right? Sort of resolved itself, but it's still like there's people moving behind the shadows of the series. Like if you remember, there's a conversation between Susanna and Jeffrey, not last week, but I believe the week prior, where Jeffrey even tells her that like you have to keep an eye on things. Things are moving, like they're like pieces in motion, like things are not quite what they seem. So I feel as though we might be like seeing our gang sort of affected by this, but we don't know what's happening yet.
Is it because he's becoming a duke?
It could be.
Because remember in the beginning of the episode where when he ran off, and it's like, he ran off like, oh, maybe because he doesn't want to become the duke or whatever, right?
Yes.
He's like, well, yeah, because he talked about it. He talked about it in the letter, right? And like maybe it's because like there's a power that he ended up inheriting, like getting by going to that family. and his brothers might be jealous of that.
Yeah, it could be that. Like, another thing I'm thinking of is maybe there's someone who is trying to, like, usurp power in the kingdom and is trying to get certain pieces on the board that he feels as though he can manipulate. And perhaps he feels like he can't manipulate Keith, like whoever this person is, right? That's maybe why they want Jeffrey on the throne, because Jeffrey is, no offense, a little easier to manipulate than Ian or Gerald, you know? And I guess nobody cares about Alan. It's like, Alan just was not even in contention.
No one ever expects anything from Alan, apparently.
Which is so sad, right? Because Alan's my favorite of the boys, right? So it's like, that's so disappointing.
It is.
It's sort of, it's a toss-up for me between Alan and Gerald for, like, of the gentleman characters. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting to see. I'm curious to see what's going to happen, because again, this episode is so much set up, right? Like, there's not a lot of things we can really sink our teeth into, you know. I find it curious that Maria is going. That was weird.
Probably because she's a really strong magic wielder.
She has light magic. She's that of
light.
Light, which magic is rare. Like, so I guess she's going, but Rufus going was also a surprise, because I'm not calling him Sora. Like, I know the show's like, call him Sora. No, there's one Sora, and he is a Keyblade master, and I will not be referring to Rufus as Sora. But Rufus is going, which is also interesting, and Susanna as well, but not as Susanna. As Lana, I believe the name is.
Lana.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's an interesting group, right? Because that's not a group I would normally associate as, like, a traveling party. You expressed a sort of disappointment that the rest of the gang, that the gang wasn't just Gerald and Katarina, correct?
Yeah. Because I wanted more cute moments between the two of them. I know Keith, his life is on the line, but who cares about Keith when you have Gerald and Katarina?
No, it's true, and honestly, at this point in the game, I've become such a Gerald and Katarina fan that when Katarina said, like, to Keith that she doesn't want to marry Gerald because she doesn't want to become royalty, it's like even Keith is just like, okay, but if you like him though, like, and then he trails off, right? Because he doesn't want to say what he knows he has to say, right?
Yeah, well, I do think Katarina kind of does like Gerald.
I agree.
Right? But she just doesn't want to become royalty, right? Because she doesn't want to give up the things that she, like, wants in life, essentially. But, like, come on.
No, I agree.
Come on. Like, who says you can't? You know, like, you're the queen. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
Well, that's just it. Like, I hate when they're like, oh, but a queen has responsibility. Yeah, you can do your responsibilities and still climb trees. Like, that's fine. Like, no one's...
I would do that.
Yeah, are you kidding me? If I was queen, I'd be like, what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? Like, if I was royalty, yeah, like, what are you gonna do? Fire me? Good luck with that. Right? And I'm sure someone's gonna be like, hey, you guys ever heard of, like, off with their heads or give them cake? It's like, yeah, but, like, you could still be a good queen or king and be, like, have a life outside of that, right? Like, just people don't have to see it, you know? Like, have a garden where Katarina can climb trees and no one bugs her, you know? Like, that's fine, right? Like,
he just becomes the bug.
You become the bug. No, but it's, I don't know. This episode is very setup heavy, but it doesn't make it bad. It was a good episode. There's things that...
It was a good episode.
Yeah, there's certainly things that I had wanted.
Okay. But can we talk about when Lana and Katarina were sitting having tea and having, I don't know what the fuck they were having, crumpets?
Tea and biscuits, I believe.
Tea and biscuits.
How have you lived here with me for this long and you don't know what tea and biscuits are?
Tea and biscuits. Anyways, come on. Lana was literally spelling it out for her that, like, Gerald, like, how much Gerald really cares for her because Katarina is to Gerald as what magic is to Lana. Like,
but Katarina's stupid. It's not her fault.
Stupid.
She's
I'm
dumb as a
also
box of
stupid.
hammers. She's
I'm
just
also
dumb.
stupid. I get it. I understand. I'm also a little bit on the dumb side. It's fine.
I mean, you
But
did
yeah.
crash a ship into the side of my home.
Okay, you know what? You need to shut up. You need to shut up right now. Don't discuss any further. Anyways, I don't know. I just shipped them really a lot. I shipped them, and I'm like, just end up together. And I have okay. Here's also my other prediction. This is where this is the kiss and like the like almost kiss in the opening happens. Is gonna be in these moments.
Oh yeah, no,
Where
that's
Jesus-
it's gonna be
happen.
it's gonna be around here.
He's gonna want to kiss her, and then maybe I don't know. Maybe Gerald will step in and be like, "Ha!"
Yeah,
No.
Gerald or Rufus. I do want to point out before we wrap up, because I feel like we're probably running out of things to talk about. But there is one thing that I do want to mention, and it's in regards to Gerald. I know that Space Girl and I are clearly big Gerald fans, you know, but I do want to point out that Gerald was kind of cold to Keith at the beginning of the episode.
Oh, he was.
It was very mean. Like, he has a very mean pot shot that I was like, oh, I didn't like that. Like, I didn't appreciate that tone. But if you notice, because he thinks that they're doing the usual back and forth, right? Like, Keith and Gerald are they take pot shots at each other quite frequently.
Yeah.
But when Gerald takes his usual shot at Keith doesn't retort. He just sort of like looks sad. And that, if you notice, if you like catch it in the episode, Gerald also is like shocked to see that, right?
Yeah.
And he feels like, you can see on his face, his eyes go wide, and then he feels a bit bad. And I like that. Like, I like that it's showing like Gerald does, in some way, shape, or form, care about the group. It's not just Katarina, right?
Yeah.
So like, being mean to Keith did feel wrong to him, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, like I at least appreciated that.
Yeah, we did see some good kind of back and forth and everything. So
Yeah. Next week should be very interesting. But also, at the time of recording this, this will be coming out on, I believe, Saturday, which means another very interesting thing is happening. You're having a big re-debut. So this video will probably go up at 12 p.m.
Wait.
EST.
am I? Wait, what's tomorrow?
Saturday.
Oh.
Yeah. So by the time people see this, it will be Saturday. So you will be re-debuting a few hours after this video goes up.
Ooh.
So if you're watching this
Yikes.
and it's the same day, I believe at 8 p.m. EST and 5 p.m. for you?
5 p.m. PST. Yeah.
Yeah. Stella's, the Space Girl's big re-debut, so you should...
Yeah,
Go
big
check them out.
re-debuting. Yeah, let's go. I actually forgot, and I still need to set things up for it. Yo, let's go. Wait to the last minute. Okay.
Stella Luna VT on Twitch, go.
Yeah, let's go. Luna VT. Let's go on Twitch. I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow. Who knows?
All right, off to you, future future JoJo editing this. Take us to the outro. And there you have it, everyone. I certainly hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, set notifications to all, and of course make sure that you like today's video as well, or leave a comment below. All of that helps please the almighty YouTube algorithm. And of course, before we go, a big thank you once again must go out to my masters who help support this endeavor, either through joining here on the channel or by checking out our Patreon page. Either way is a single $1 and helps us out tremendously, so do think about joining. And once again, a huge thank you to my masters again for always helping support this channel and our continued endeavors. It is absolutely wonderful. Thank you all so much. And as we said in the video, do be sure to check out Space Girl's big re-debut. I hope it goes well. I'll be there, so be sure to check out the big re-debut. I'm very proud of her, so do be sure to check that out. And until next time, clean your room. It's filthy.